Hi all, I hope things are well. I very much enjoyed our class today. I appreciate your engagement, your attention, your contributions, and your good humor. This week, I'm going to say now a little bit about the week ahead. We'll look ahead to have this video perhaps provide you with some information that will be helpful to you, as you may or may not get to the class assignment page just yet, and maybe elaborate a little bit on some of what's there. So first, our reading for this week comes from Chapter 2, Attention. I look forward to discussing with you aspects of that reading, and there are 4 questions that are on the class assignment page for you to write a one-pager that responds to those 4 questions. And if you want to go over to the other side, that's fine, but you don't need to. Also, with regards to that assignment, you will have it where in class we will address those 4 questions as well. So in addition to discussing the chapter at large, we'll also zero in on those same 4 questions that you'll be writing about. Okay, so that's the reading. I may put up a video, which is me in conversation with a former mindfulness and law class student who's now practicing law. I may or I may not. If I do, I'll let you know, since it's not there at the moment. It'll be about a half-hour conversation that I think you'll find useful. If I do, I will email you that I've done so you'll know to look for it. All right, in addition to the reading from the book, we've got 2 readings from our practice guide. One is the article that Paul Singerman wrote, from which there was an excerpt in last week's reading. I think you'll enjoy his article, The Return on Investment from the Study and Practice of Mindfulness, as well as a write-up on a study that we did here at the University of Miami with undergraduates, offering a mindfulness training, and then looking at the end of the semester, weekly, and then looking at the end of the semester at how their attention might have been different as a result of doing the practice than a group that was a control group that didn't get that those mindfulness practice opportunities. And in that study that we did, they had an in-class practice that was guided, and then they also practiced outside of class. So it's very similar to the invitation that you have in front of you. And here's a little bit of the science that speaks to that. Speaking of science, we looked at some of the science. I hope you found that interesting. And this is also something that we'll come back to, and I'll leave it with you all next time. But for now, it was just a taste of the science, because the landscape of the mind, which we'll also get to, is really something we want to, I think, explore first without too many roadmaps to tell us what it's supposed to be. To actually sit and practice and begin to see with greater clarity this internal terrain of what 3 things? Thoughts, feelings, and sensations. All right, so with regard to the practice, this week's practice is going to be very much like last week's practice. There are a variety of moving parts to our class. I'd like to, at the beginning, have not too many moving too fast and furious. So just like last week, where you practiced the 6-minute focused attention practice twice, and then on the other days could practice it more if you wanted to, but at least sit and do the 10-second PMP. Remember, this is the aspiration. It's very doable, but not so easy. So be kind to yourself. I'm hopeful that in the next 2 weeks, we begin to establish a regular practice routine. And I recognize that it can take a handful of weeks for that to get set in place. So this week, like last week, except we'll have one more focused attention practice. So instead of 2 times, practice it 3 times. That would be the assignment. And then on the other days, practice the 6-minute practice if you want again, or do the PMP. Of course, if for some reason the day is going and you're like, oh, I didn't get to do it, and I'm not going to do it, take your seat and do the 10-second PMP. Because if nothing else, just getting in the habit of taking our seat can be very, very helpful. Sometimes that's enough for the rest to follow. But if nothing else, having it become sort of known deeply as something that's happening each day. All right. Also, just a reminder, we got the Mindful Spaces starting next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I hope this is helpful, and I wish you all a wonderful weekend and a terrific week. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday. All the best.